Episode Knuckles, created by Sonia Warriors. March 13th, 2016. Hey there, my name is Alex. Now, I'm a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know why, it's just, I'm so much like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. I love to help people, I'm the fastest person at my high school, and I like to act cool. With Tails, I'm smart, young, and I love to play as him in the games. Now, for Knuckles, I'm strong. Sometimes I like to be alone, and I have long hair like him. But I'm going to be honest here. I have really big anger issues. I don't know why. Oh, and I sometimes pick fights. You know, I'm not like Knuckles and Sonic and Tails, but today, we have nothing in common. One day at my school, this nerd was getting picked on, so of course I helped him and beat the jocks up. Now we were friends for, I think, 5 or 6 years now. His name is Thomas, and he loves to troll people. He's been giving me games with a note saying that they are dangerous and destroy them. I did it because he's my friend, but of course it was a prank. I didn't mind them, and today, I wish I listened to the note. I was playing Call of Duty, and my parents said that they would be gone for a week. They need to help family in Chicago. I did say I was young, but I'm really responsible, so my parents trust me. It was a Saturday for me. The mail usually came here at this time of day, so I got off my butt and went to the mailbox outside my house. I found a few letters of my parents. And found a letter with a disc taped on it. The letter said, if I can remember from memory, Dear Alex, hey buddy, I know what you're thinking. This is another troll, but before you think that, I'm not lying. This game is the devil itself. Please, and I mean please, destroy it, burn it, and bury it. I don't care. Just get this out of this world, please. I'm not lying. It got me. It's too fast. Just please. Kill it. Nakaru. This freaked me out, but I thought of it as nothing. He did this kind of prank a million times. What is Nakaru? I thought. Maybe he went to the internet to see how his name would be spelled in Japanese or whatever. He does like to write his name in different styles, so I thought nothing of it. I went back in my house and thought, why not look at the game? I mean, if he wants me to destroy it, then it's probably a game he doesn't like. I put the DVD in my computer and started to play. When I saw the title screen, it made my heart jump with joy. It was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I pressed play, but when I did, the title screen changed for a split second. Sonic looked scared and Knuckles, well, since it was a split second, I didn't see fully, but Knuckles' eyes were very dark gray, almost black even, and bloody red eyes. I thought I saw some blood under his eyes. No, I think I saw stitches on the right side of his head, and his fur was a dark color than normal. I think I saw a big smile on Knuckles' face that was almost suit up. Now, I jumped, but then I put on a brave face and said, this is the game. It will do nothing to me. It's probably just a color glitch. How wrong was I? The level name was Green Hill Zone. What the frick? I thought. Why is the Green Hill Zone on Sonic 3 and Knuckles? I started to think, and I remember that Thomas was a big, scary cat. I got it! I said out loud. It's a hacked game that someone probably gave to Thomas and he got scared and sent it to me to destroy it. I chuckled and started the level. I saw a modern Sonic, not classic Sonic. Scared. He was so scared. For a 16-bit game, he seemed really scared. I thought of it as nothing, but then he started to break the fourth wall and point right. I started to make him run, and he started to run faster than ever before. The background was the only thing that moved, and Sonic moved a little out of his place until he was in the middle of the screen. The background was soon just a blur, like he was running at the speed of sound. Then, after 10 seconds or so, I see that's just a flat lamp. After like 1 minute, Sonic looked back, and he looked even more scared. How is that possible? How could he even look more scared in a 16-bit game? Then I heard this drowning song that happens if you're underwater for too long. The song sounded a little faster and deeper and sounded more darker. Then I see what he saw running from. It was Knuckles. At first I thought, no, this has to be one of Eggman's robots. The robot came out slowly, but after like 30 seconds or so, I saw his whole body. What the frick? How can Knuckles be so detailed in 16-bit? His fur looked like what it was in the title screen, dark red. He had stitches on the right side of his head, and his dreadlocks seemed to have been sewed on the top. It was sewed with one string. The white part of his eye was a very dark gray. His eyes were bloody red, and blood ran down from his eyes. I could see the blood go drip, drip, drip off his face. He had a smile that was sewed just like in the title screen. He had a stitch on his body that went to a symbol on his chest down to where his crotch would have been. There was also a switch that went a crash, but it looked a bit sideways. On his left arm, he had one stitch near his elbow, and one on his right arm. He had 2 stitches. One in between his shoulder and elbow, and the second one near to his hand. On his left leg, he had 3 stitches. One in the middle, one near his crotch, and the other one was near his foot. On the right hand, he had 2 stitches, and one over his knee, the other one under. His glove seemed to have ripped on the top, showing his fingers, and his nails were razor sharp. On his left hand, one of the spikes was split in half. Now I know what you're thinking. It couldn't have that much detail, and yes, you were right. That was not that much detail, but I did see how he completely looked, and I thought I could tell you now that I got that out of the way. Anyway, I saw Knuckles coming closer, and the music played faster and lower. But what was really weird was that Knuckles was going at the speed of sound, and he was floating. Okay, Knuckles can't float at the speed of sound, just no! What the heck is going on? I thought. Knuckles had both of his feet up, the left hand at his side, and the right one was reaching out for Sonic. And Sonic looks back, and looked even more scared. So scared that I could feel his fear. What the buck? I said. Then when Knuckles was about 5 inches away from Sonic, not in the game, on my screen, I hear Knuckles' laugh. It sounds like the Knuckles from Sonic Adventures 1, but what was weird is that the voice sounded a bit demonic. He got closer and closer until he was just a few centimeters away, and the screen went to black. When it came back, it went to 16-bit to 3D, but what scared me the most was that it looked realistic. That's how I knew how he looked. He also had his teeth showing in his smile. Oh god. His teeth was kind of yellow, and it was razor sharp teeth. Now, I don't know how many teeth he originally had, but it looked like he had 2 times as much teeth. And I looked closer at him, and it turns out that his gums were very damaged, and they were almost purple, like if someone bruised him. Anyway, Knuckles was holding Sonic from the neck, and Sonic had tears in his eyes. It made me sad to see Sonic like this. I heard him sobbing and mumbling. Knuckles only chuckled. Then he said in his demonic voice, "You are too slow, Sonic." It made me jump. Then Knuckles put his fist up and started to punch Sonic. His screams were so loud. I blocked my ears, but I could still hear him screaming, like if he was in this very room. Then after 5 or so minutes, Knuckles stopped for a second. Sonic's face was now mutated. It was so gross that I wanted to throw up, but I stopped myself. Knuckles lifted up his fist and said, "Goodbye, Sonic." As he said that, he punched Sonic and his head crumbled to a million pieces. It made me want to puke. And Knuckles looked at me with those god-awful eyes. They smiled cheek to cheek. Then I see Tails in the background, flying towards them. Tails looked happy to see Knuckles. I guess Tails didn't see Sonic's corpse. Then Tails landed, looked happy, until he saw Sonic. Tails was crying. And then he sees Knuckles turn to look at him. Knuckles' eyes were closed, and his mouth had a frown. Then Tails looked up, and Knuckles opened his eyes and smiled, like to say, "I did this." Tails' eyes widened as he started to fly. I was soon controlling him, and I made him go higher in the air. I did it for 5 minutes or so, and I was so happy that Tails could get away, but just never get your hopes up. I see Knuckles teleport in the air and kick Tails down. And then Tails got up, and I tried to make him run away, but Knuckles grabbed one of his tails and ripped it off. I then heard a blood-curdling scream from Tails. I muted my computer, but I could still hear it. Knuckles then grabbed Tails by the neck, and before Tails could run again, Tails tried to punch Knuckles, but he grabbed his arm before it hit his face. He chuckled and said, "Can't run." This time, his voice was a bit more hellish. As he said that, he started to twist Tails' arm and rip it off. Tails screamed and begged for him to stop. His voice sounded like Tails from the games from nowadays. Knuckles laughed out loud, and I wish he could just shut up. His voice, it was so scary. Then Tails started to kick, but Knuckles ripped off both his legs and his other arm. Tails screamed and wept some more. Then Knuckles ripped off his remaining tail and drops him. Tails screamed for help for like a few minutes or so, and Knuckles laughed, become louder and louder, and Tails stopped screaming, stopped breathing, stopped living. How could Knuckles do this? When Tails died, Knuckles stopped laughing for a second, looked at his corpse, and gave a really big laugh, like as if he saw the funniest thing in the world. I tried to press the escape so I could destroy this disc, but my finger was a centimeter from the bottom. My hand stopped, like someone there is stopping me from not watching this. Then I felt it, my head being pulled back, and I heard Knuckles' chuckle, like he was right behind me. I was so scared. I was too scared to look, but behind me. I was too scared to look behind me, so I didn't. I looked at the screen, and Knuckles waves his finger, like to say, "You're not done watching." I started to cry. I can't believe that Knuckles killed his friends like that. I watched all of that. I wanted to throw up. Then I saw someone behind him. Eggman, I thought. For some reason, I yelled, "Run, Robotnik! Run before he catches you!" As he heard me, he looked at Knuckles and gave a what the frick face and started to run. Knuckles puts his hand up and counted down from 5. 5. His voice was normal. 4. It was a little creepy, but not demonic creepy. 3. His voice was unsettling, but not as much. 2. It was a bit more demonic than what he had before he killed Tails. When he said those words that I would never get out of my head. It was demonic, but I could tell it was still him. Well, barely. "Here I come, Eggman." His voice, it was so satanic. When he said, "Here I come, Eggman," it was... If I was not looking at the screen, I heard that. And I heard that, I would never guess it was Knuckles. Then the screen turned to pitch black. I was in some kind of mansion, lair place. I was controlling Robotnik, and I made him run. I see Knuckles behind him, chasing him. Then Eggman hit a wall. It looked so scared. Before I could hear nothing but mumbling the Tails in Sonic. Well, I could tell what Tails was saying. Sonic, not so much. Look, I'm sorry for what I did, but... But look, you lived! Eggman said. Wait, Eggman did this? No wonder Knuckles is pissed. But why kill Sonic and Tails? What did they do? Robotnik tried to run again, but Knuckles teleported above him. He was floating. He then grabs Robotnik by the neck. Knuckles chuckled, and he puts his hand down his throat and said, "You need to lose some weight. Mind if I help?" Eggman then gargled. "Don't, please!" I started to scream. I started at the scream, scared of what was going to happen next. And then Knuckles started to pull out his organs. I felt sick to my stomach. Eggman was sobbing. And then he was now very skinny. Not like literally skinny, but he looked like a raisin. Eggman then died, and Knuckles started to laugh, and even louder than when he killed Tails. His voice was now what it was when he killed Sonic. He was in the air, on his back, laughing his head off. Laughing his butt off. He was laughing so hard, and he started to tear up. Not tears of sadness, not for killing his friends, but for joy, for happiness, for what he has done. Like he was so proud of it. Then he looked at me, and I looked at Eggman's corpse, and I tore up, cried. My favorite characters, my favorite villain just got killed by my favorite character, Knuckles. The nose was cut to black. I saw a red dot, and before I could ask, what was that? Knuckles ran at the screen in an extremely rapid speed and hit the screen with the palm of his hand. My computer literally shook. The background was blurry, and I couldn't tell what it was. And they started laughing. Right? Blood. The words were I was confused. Am a monster? A demon? That's what I thought. And was for sure that was what he was going to write. What he put scared me more than if he put monster, demon, or anything related to a beast. God. You know when someone is making something and they write their name on the bottom right. He wrote negative. Now I know what it means. It means Knuckles. Wait. Did he write it? Or did Tom do it? I don't know. I was confused. And he screamed, God! And laughed like a psychopath. I was scared crapless. I started to cry even more. When I was done crying, I looked at the screen again, and I recognized the background. It was my room. There I was, playing the game with Sonic, and I froze. I went to take the disc out, but before I got to take it out, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was about to turn around. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Holy!" It was Knuckles. He then laughed in my face, as if my screams were music to his ears. Then he put his razor-sharp nails in my left shoulder and I kicked him off. I then grabbed the computer and ran to my parents' closet. He didn't follow me, luckily. Please save me. My dress is... He's here.